Hello, I'm Claire.
I'm Laura.
And we're going to talk to you about the Stress and Adrenals module for the Functional Kinesiology Practitioner course.
Stress and adrenals. We
we
talk about stress and adrenals all the time, and I mean it's part of life. We're all living off of our adrenals, and the nervous system is constantly stimulated and this is what we see with clients.
Yeah, we are definitely in a situation globally where we are in an overstimulation situation. And so it's actually, I think, almost impossible to be living now and not have stressed adrenals. We're woken up by alarm clocks. We are feeding the body with caffeine. We're getting in our cars and then driving to work, and there's pollution and it's stressful and we've got to be there by a certain time, and then we're there and we're sitting under these electric lights and we're using all these gadgets, and then it's just like rush and get back for the school run, and then I've got to feed the kids and walk the dog and do this and do that and do the other,
and then I'm going to watch TV before I go to bed, and then I'm going to check my phone before I go to bed.
We have not evolved to deal with the pressures of modern lifestyle. And so there is this big fallout and our adrenal glands are exhausted. And the knock-on effect is then underactive thyroids, our periods are going weird, we've got fertility issues, we've got irritable bowel syndrome, panic attacks, you name it. It is all stemming from no sex drive.
Because in the module, we really look at the two sides of the nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system, which is your get up and go, that is your alarm clock, it's the daytime, it's the I'm doing my stuff, I'm out in the world. And then we've got parasympathetic nervous system, which is where we start to relax, we start to digest, our sex drive kicks in, our sleep kicks in, and this parasympathetic nervous system is no longer having an opportunity to come online. We're just living off the sympathetic. And so this module is looking at, okay, the actual, the biology of what's happening in the body. So we look at the entire endocrine system, we look at pineal, pituitary, thyroid, thymus, adrenals, ovaries, pancreas. We look at the whole endocrine system. And then we look at when the stress and adrenals is going down and taking that endocrine with it, what do we do?
Yeah, what do we do?
How do we support our clients with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, blood sugars, because we've covered that in the module before. But then what? And so we look at very, very specific nutritional supplementation for the endocrine, really technical and specific nutraceuticals. It's really exciting. We have got an actual recipe of a combination of nutritional products to work with each client, and they become individual because you're going to be doing the muscle testing to find out which ones, but it's like, okay, you're going to need one of these, and you're going to need one of these, and you're going to need one of these, and it's just it's so transformative. It's so transformative.
You know, one of the things that I really love, that again, this is why I love working with Claire, because you were the first person to actually look at the Sartorius muscle that we learn in the foundation training, which is to do with adrenals, which is in the leg, which stabilizes the hip. When we're stressed and that muscle goes out.
Oh yeah, so when that muscle shortens and tightens, and we get a rotation in the pelvis, because otherwise our feet are going to be sort of wonky. We get a rotation in the pelvis to make our feet in line. Then what that does is actually going to pull on the ileocecal muscle or this ileocecal valve in the bowel, open the ileocecal valve and compress the other side, the rings of Houston on the other side. And this is where irritable bowel syndrome starts. And this is very often why we see irritable bowel syndrome starting in young girls just around the time of puberty, when there's already quite a lot of stress in the body and they're kind of hitting mock GCSEs, GCSEs, those kind of things. So yeah, this big connection structurally between stress, the bowels, the hips, leg problems, knee problems, female hormones, etc., etc., etc. Because of course in kinesiology language, if you've got your pelvis is out of whack, then your gluteus medius is going to be out of whack, which of course is our female hormones. Like, it just all makes so much sense. It's actually really, really exciting. And the reason it's exciting is not just because we're preying on people's conditions and going, oh, this is exciting, well done you. It's because we've actually got the recipe of how to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And when we are able to explain to our clients what is happening in their body, it stops being a battle between them and their symptoms. They start going, okay, I understand what my body is trying to tell me. I understand what it needs from me. So we talk a lot. I spend my life talking to my clients about the HPA axis dysregulation. And this is where the body has got itself into a loop of producing far too much cortisol. And it can't get out of it without help. So this is something that I keep explaining to my clients, and this is why we're taking this supplement, and this is why we're balancing your blood sugars. And they go, okay, I understand this. It's no longer a mystery. I feel much more comfortable that I can manage this symptom. We also teach about the pregnenolone steal, which is the most illuminating pathway to how our body makes hormones, and if there is any kind of stress, how we're not going to be making the right amount of female hormones because we're going to be turning them into cortisol. I mean, like, I lived that for 15 years. I was living in the pregnenolone steal, and if I had, and I was doing alternative health at this point, I was a kinesiologist at this point, but if I'd had that information when I'd started on this journey, then my symptoms would have been very, very different. Yes, I was working with my adrenals, but I wasn't working with them in the right way. And I certainly wasn't working with my female hormones in the right way because we were working with what symptoms were coming up or what showed up. It wasn't putting the whole picture together. And the other thing that we teach about is low or high cortisol, because just saying that someone's got a cortisol imbalance isn't actually very useful. We need to know, is it low cortisol, is it high cortisol, and then either, be rebalancing the body. Yeah. So it's so exciting because we're becoming really, really targeted and specific, and this is why clients are feeling better so much more quickly.
I think this is really interesting when we start looking at the nutritional herbs that we're working with, because we work with the adaptogens, which are the herbs that regulate the hormone system, but we're looking at it from which herbs stimulate. So if you've got someone who is on the floor fatigued, you're going to need a stimulator. You're going to need to be able to put that energy in. But what if you've got someone who is anxious, on the ceiling, who's living off their adrenals, who's living off
really fast and just like this, everything's really teary.
And yet they probably don't have access to that energy, but they're kind of wired. We're going to need a calmer.
Yeah.
So we're looking at adaptogens from a perspective of, right, we're going to need to put energy in and we're going to need to take energy out. And the kinesiology techniques that we use within functional kinesiology are taken from the Touch for Health model, which is looking at where is there too much energy, where is there not enough, and that is so key with stress and adrenals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I'm so proud of this module. I mean, I'm really proud of all of them, but I'm particularly proud of this one because we have taken a foundational knowledge that we had as practitioners of other kinesiologies, and we have really done huge amounts of research, and we have really combined so much in terms of functional nutrition. And what's so great about the way that we teach it is it's not overwhelming. We've broken it down. You've got the access to the online modules. So like when we're talking about things like the HPA axis dysregulation, you might be sat there going, I'm not going to be able to understand this biochemistry. You will, because it's so easy to understand. And that's why I spend my life talking to clients about it, because they can understand it. And it's just great. You're going to love it.
Well, it's empowering to know what's going on in your body. And I think this is the thing that we don't have in the medical model. We give the power away to doctors, and where alternative health is different is it's the education piece. It is teaching people this is what is going on in your body, and this is how you are empowered to make change.
And I have to be honest. I'm going to be really honest that I've got clients with, say, 3, 4, 5 different types of autoimmune condition, or who have got, really horrific menopauses, which is what I've experienced, or they've got all sorts of other things, diabetes. They've got these big things going on. But once we start explaining to them what's going on in their body with this research, they're so much more empowered when they go into the doctor to say, actually, I'm not quite sure about this treatment plan because, what about this side? What about that side? And this is how actually we're going to start changing the world, because when you actually sat there with a doctor, they might still say, well, we're going to still keep you on that medication and blah, blah, blah. But when we are able to keep bringing this research, this is not airy-fairy stuff. This is absolute biochemical, reality. then we start changing things, because then we get GPs questioning, then we get the doctors questioning, then we get things moving forwards. So this work, this stress and adrenals work, is a real legacy. It is, you are changing the lives of people that you work with. Yeah, I know. So that's stress and adrenals.